Hi everybody, my name is Andrea Fox and today I'm going to go ahead and be sharing my program review and evaluation. I decided to do the school that I volunteered at. It is called Marco Polo Children's School located here in Irvine, California. I chose this program specifically because they are a dual immersion school, so they do work primarily with children who speak Mandarin, but also have classrooms that are specifically English. So I thought this would be the perfect program to review. So some of the pre-work that I did, I wanted to really understand how bilingual schools like this supported dual language learners, especially how Mandarin and English are both balanced throughout their daily routines. I had never worked or volunteered at a school that had a dual program like this, so I was really interested to see how they kind of immerse them and how they work well together. So my goal was to connect real classroom practice to what we've learned here in our session about culturally responsive language support. So some of the pre-work that I did was just seeing how the school ran. I talked to some of the staff as well as looked on their website just to see how they supported children. So how I mentioned, they do have a good mix of primary Mandarin classes as well as primary English classes, and they are able to support both languages either simultaneously or separately. So some of the evidence that I pulled, I was able to visit. I've been visiting the school for my volunteers hours, but for this assessment specifically, I visited them during free time. I observed some of the classrooms that have the dual immersion. So some of the classrooms that the children primarily speak in Mandarin, just to see the interactions, the family engagement materials, and the bilingual signage located in the classroom or just throughout the classroom and the just site in general. So after that, I was able to complete the program assessment and I was able to calculate my scores in each area. So on the right here, it shows the management system and the program areas. So in both sections, they scored decently well, I would say. So communication, human resources and training was pretty high, 80, 71, and 100%. So all in all, they do a pretty good job at making sure that they're communicating to families in their preferred language as well as providing um, translation when needed, as well as having enough training and professional development for the staff that works there. They do have a very culturally diverse program, which includes the staff. So they do have a lot of staff that is fluent in Mandarin, as well as a lot of just diverse staff in general in order to support a lot of different children in different areas. Um, and then moving on to the program area, so they scored a little bit lower in these areas. Um, Not super low, but just a little lower than in the management setting. So as far as assessment and curricula and teaching and the learning environment is scored a little under 75%, so not super bad, but they can do a little bit better in just having the screenings and assessments in in different languages as well as just the environment, but they do pretty well in family and community engagement. As I was in the classroom and on site, I was able to see a lot of family engagement and community engagement that supported the curricula and that supported the children in general. So during this assessment, I was able to gather a few photos that are shown on the right. So bilingual immersion happens when both languages are supported daily through embedded in daily routine. So you can see on the left, it talks about their daily schedule. So it really walks through both in Mandarin and in English. It shows different schedules and kind of how they work throughout the day, and then visual supports and the warm adult interactions. So how I said, they do have a lot of staff that speak fluent Mandarin as well as other different languages. So they're able to create that trust-based relationship that we talk about a lot throughout this course. And intentional teaching practices, they could also make bilingual learning even stronger. So you can see on the photos that I've provided, they try to provide both the English and the Mandarin version, or other languages that the children um, learn, or their home languages, sorry, as well as supporting their culture. So they do really try to immerse the students and really have a culturally diverse program. So you can see on the top right, they did some stuff for Chinese New Year, and they have a lot of things throughout the whole site that really support the students' culture, which all in all just supports their learning in general, which I thought was really cool. So, some continued inquiry and my closing thoughts is just how can we build a stronger bilingual curriculum resources? So, all in all, how I said their family engagement and their community engagement seems pretty well. I feel like since this is a smaller private school, they do create that relationship with the students and with the family, which just supports their learning in general. But how can, just like as the government or as a state or as a city, just really support the resources for curriculum, not only in a private school setting, but also in a public school setting. So how another question I thought was, how can teachers better assess growth in both languages equitably? So some of the assessments that they did, even for students, were some of them were in English. So just how can we have better assessments that support equitable learning and just making sure that the children have the best chance at success? So overall, this review really helped me see the connection between inclusive environments and language identity, as well as just seeing how when a program or a site really puts in the effort to learn their students, to learn their culture, to learn their language, how much more successful the students can be in the long run. And I just really learned how to better support children that are learning two languages, and just some tips and tricks, so kind of how I shared providing things in both languages, supporting assessments in both languages. So just a lot of cool, neat tips and tricks that I learned in order to help the children succeed a little bit more. So that looks like it should be all. Thank you so much all for listening.